In this short section, we will be studying the EU OBS requirements for an aeroplane fuel jettison system and the responsibility of the flight crew if jettison is required following an in-flight emergency. An in-flight emergency may require an early or immediate landing, and if the current mass of the aeroplane is above that of the maximum landing mass, fuel must be jettisoned to reduce the mass to an acceptable level for landing. In accordance with EU OBS, Certification Specification 25, CS25, aeroplanes must have a fuel jettison system installed if it has shown that the aeroplane is unable to meet certain rate of climb requirements at a specified mass if a go-around becomes necessary. The specified mass is the aeroplane's maximum takeoff mass, less fuel used for a 15-minute flight, consisting of takeoff, go-around, and landing back at the departure aerodrome. If an aeroplane can achieve the climb requirements at the point of go-around, it will not require a jettison system. Where a fuel jettison system is required, the system must be capable of jettisoning enough fuel in 15 minutes, starting at maximum takeoff mass, to reduce the aeroplane mass to the specified landing mass at which the rate of climb requirements are met. This will enable an aeroplane to make an approach for landing, and, if necessary, to carry out a go-around and satisfy the required rate of climb requirements. During aeroplane trials, the rate of climb requirements on initiating a go-around for both the non-jettison and jettison system-equipped aeroplane are the same. The requirement is that in the landing configuration, the steady gradient of climb with engines at go-around power must not be less than 3.2%, with a climb speed of VREF in non-icing conditions. When a jettison system is required, it must be shown by flight testing that the jettison system and its operation are free from fire hazards, and that the fuel discharge is clear of the aeroplane. It must also be shown that any fumes do not enter any part of the aeroplane, and that the controllability of the aeroplane is not adversely affected. The fuel jettison system must be designed so that fuel cannot be jettisoned below a set level to safeguard the possibility of the aeroplane running out of fuel. EU OBS state that the jettison system must be restricted to a level that provides enough fuel for a climb to 10,000 feet, plus an amount for a 45-minute cruise at maximum range speed. To enable this, the fuel tanks contain stack pipes or float switches to stop the jettisoning at the required level. Pilots in flight are permitted to jettison fuel at any time during an emergency. However, if possible, it is recommended that the jettison should take place over the sea at a predetermined altitude, usually above 6,000 feet above ground level. Exceptionally, fuel may also be jettisoned elsewhere. In all cases, ATC should be informed before commencement. Additionally, and again, unless there is an overriding requirement to jettison fuel, the aeroplane should, in consultation with air traffic services, be flown to an allocated area at an allocated height before commencing the jettison. Consideration should also be given to the weather conditions. Jettisoning fuel in an electrical storm is not a wise move. In the cabin, if not already illuminated, the no smoking sign should be switched on, and passengers and crew briefed on what is happening. Once jettisoning has begun, electrical switching should be restricted to essential use only. HF radio transmissions should be suspended, and VHF transmissions restricted to further emergency or flight safety communications. During jettison at straight and level flight, the flow of fuel must be visibly monitored, and manoeuvres should be smooth, with the operation of flaps and slats again restricted to essential use. A placard will indicate if the use of flaps and slats will affect jettisoning. Once the jettison is complete, ATC should be informed. In this lesson, we have looked at the EU OBS requirements for a jettison system and the necessary procedures and safety requirements involved.